Good morning, everyone. Renu Basu, Senior Vice President, Global Sales and Marketing for the Taj Group of Hotels, has been at the forefront of evolution in the global hospitality industry for as long as I have known her. Renu has been an integral part of a leadership team that has built India's strongest brand across sectors. She is a multifaceted woman and a complete woman of substance. Her expertise spans areas of account management, global sales, communication, effectiveness, loyalty, and digitization, which have only created and strengthened a powerful brand franchise such as the Taj Group Hotel. Renu has featured on Impact's 50 Most Influential Women, is an executive committee member of PATA, and I was nominated for the Leadership Vanguard in 2019 for championing sustainability. Wow, Renu. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I rest my case that Renu is a woman of not only substance, but I'm proud to say a very good friend over several decades. Welcome, Renu, to our Travelgam session today.
Thank you so much, Mahesh. That was too much, but thank you for having me here. And you've obviously exalted my virtues more than what they are.
Well, people tell me I call an ant an elephant, but that's not true in your case. In your case, it is 100% whatever I've said, I meant it, and you deserve every accolade you've earned over the decades you've been in the industry, you know, seriously.
No, but thank you. You have been a big supporter of our brand even before I knew you. But once I got to know you, I know why you are who you are and why you've been so successful as well. So thank you for having me here.
No, the pleasure is absolutely ours. So you know what, I know it's a Tuesday, it's a working day. And so even though we're working from home or anywhere, I think everybody's got a lot of webinars, Zoom calls and internal, issues to deal with. So I'm going to just deep dive straight into certain questions I have, prepped for you. The last few months, obviously have been gloom, doom, etc. Since March, and I'm not going to delve into that. But they've obviously been very, very tough with the highest impacted industry, which is ours. Hotels have been facing tough times. The industry is, obviously gasping for breath. There's too much uncertainty all around. The dynamism is, there for everybody to see in terms of the curves going up and down. And especially with this overall strain on cash flows and resources here. So how are you guys coping and managing at IHCL, Renu?
So, Mahesh, you're right. It is a reality, which was a bit very difficult or challenging for us to, experience right in the beginning, because none of us in our careers have been through this kind of a situation. We've been through crises like, the financial crisis, as well as, the crisis we went through personally as a company. But we were, I do believe in times like this, you have to have a very positive, optimistic attitude, and you have to have a lot of mental energy. Otherwise, you get snowed under, and that's not the intent. So we, obviously, this has fundamentally changed the hospitality business. With the borders closed, with people who, we're very dependent on the inbound traveler. With the borders closed, people are obviously not traveling. So, but we didn't want to get overwhelmed by that. We decided right in the very beginning that we first must do have an outreach with our customers and all our stakeholders, so we make them feel comfortable. Then we went into, the community has always been at the center of everything we do as an organization. So you are aware that, we supported a lot of meals for the doctors in Mumbai, and we served about 2.4 million meals. We opened our hotels to the doctors, so they had a comfortable stay, only because the city was under lockdown, people couldn't travel. So while we did all that, we ensured that our employees were in a good condition. We also said, okay, now we need to get back into business. So at that point in time, we realized that, driving, which was never a very important part of anybody's plan to travel, we focused on that, and we researched all the driving destinations around India from each metro city. And we in the first week of June, we launched the 4D initiative, which you're aware of, what we call Dream, Drive, Discover, and Delight. And then we, as the lockdown started lifting, the first state that the lockdown lifted was in Karnataka. So we launched 4D there, and at the same time, Rajasthan was lifted. So we launched it then. We got an overwhelming response for Coorg and all our Rajasthan hotels, especially Udaipur, because it's very close to Ahmedabad and Baroda and Surat. And then we, of course, focused on staycations through our urban getaway offers and our vacation offers. So we decided that we have to make the most of the situation, and domestic travel is very, very critical for all of us at this point in time. And actually for our company, it always has been, because we are the largest footprint of leisure hotels. And we also launched a promotion for takeaway of food under hospitality at home, because people, what is really doing well is food. Food really, whether you're looking at groceries, whether you're looking at anything to do with food, and people have such a strong connection with our brand. So we thought, why don't we get the food to their home? So we launched hospitality at home, and very recently we launched our app called the Cumin app on the 24th of July.
I'm gonna come to that in a bit.
Okay, I'm going to come to that. So I'm saying this is what we did. It is a challenging time, but we don't have to get caught up with the negativity. We have to be optimistic. We have to be innovative and come out with new solutions.
Issue out here, which we discussed this earlier, is the low hanging fruit which we all thought which was domestic. And you're right that today your staycations and your drivable holidays assume that much more significance, because from a domestic point of view, we thought that it's going to be seamless movement between states, but we see that every day things are changing in terms of people are enforcing different rules in different states, from a hotel point of view, from a connectivity point of view. So I think the initiative which you first discovered and you all guys did those 4Ds, I think it was brilliant to try and identify that as something which will at least get the lowest hanging fruit in motion.
And actually, Mahesh, this we didn't do in the last 2 months. Actually, in March, when the lockdown was announced,
I remember.
Actually, a little before the lockdown, we said, how do we turn this challenge into an opportunity? So if you recall, we spoke about, I had asked you, are there any weddings overseas that we can bring into India? And we did have some success, especially in the city of Bangalore and Mumbai, where people, very quickly turned around and changed their plans. So one has to, just be very, very aware of what is happening and try and take decisions from that point of view. So we had identified this actually from the 18th of March onwards, because we didn't realize that we were going for a national lockdown of the nature we went through.
No, and I think staying relevant, being agile, being flexible are the three key things which you need to do with every organization in order to survive this huge crisis. Is got to adopt.
Absolutely.
So the other thing, IHCL was also on a major rebranding and re-strategizing trajectory, and with its vision, I remember with your Vision 2022 plan, and I think
Aspiration 2022, yeah.
Oh, Aspiration, was it? Okay. Yeah. So in fact, that's a much better word than Vision 2022. Aspiration 2022 in the current state, in the current scenario, seems much more of a relevant word than vision. So I think a lot was achieved, like hiring of hotels into different brands and starting new brands. And what would be the future road of that plan now, Renu?
No, that continues. See, Aspiration 2022 is certainly and we had achieved a lot on that. We continue on that path, but we've obviously had to manage the current crisis. We've introduced a new initiative, which is Reset 2020, which is really a comprehensive 5-point strategy and a transformational framework to look at revenue growth, optimization, then strengthen the balance sheet, and, you know, be frugal and look at exercise thrift in costs. So that the Aspiration 2022, we had already decided and cleaned up the entire brandscape. So we moved from a branded house to a house of brands, you know, and therefore we launched. I mean, the Taj continues to be dominating that space, but we introduced a soft brand called Selections. We continue on that path. We then we also revitalized or re-strategized on Vivanta, and of course Ginger. We spent and invested a lot of time, effort, and other investments on repositioning Ginger, which has been very successful. And today we have 51 hotels. And you know, Mahesh, for Ginger right now, I mean, all the effort that was made for Ginger in the last 2.5 years has really yielded a lot of excellent results for that brand, because we revitalized it from being a very, I would say, you know, it was not distinctive, but today it's distinctive. It's got its own legs. It's in the lean luxe category. And during this crisis, Mahesh, I mean, we are doing occupancies that we had never imagined for that brand. Because what happens in a situation like this, the brands in, you know, the smaller cities and the tertiary towns do better. And also from the price point perspective and the value it offers, and people want to go to trusted brands. And coming from our stable, because what is really emerging, and we realized that again some time ago, that trusted brands will stay tall in a stay and stand tall in a situation like this. Yeah. So we are definitely going ahead with our brands the way they were, and there's no change in that. And we have been adding new hotels as well, even in this crisis. So we are not stopping our plans, but of course it's slowed down. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And we are introducing new lines of businesses.
Which exactly what we were saying earlier, you got to stay relevant and agile, right, in terms of innovating something which will keep the revenues, you know, moving.
Absolutely. And also people can't go to restaurants today, even if they're wanting to, because we are very strict about the government guidelines laid down. So, you know, so that's why we introduced Cumin. And we also felt it's not about just delivering any food, but it was really about our signature restaurants that, you know, resonates so much with all our customers across the country.
The question basically, I think what you got a perspective is your Aspiration 2022, and how you, after Aspiration 2022, you've done the resetting of 2020. Right. You know, correct, which is I think very relevant in today's scenario, because this whole
world, we have to focus on the now as well. You know, the now is very, very critical.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, I've always, from a client's point of view, I've always seen that all the hotels which have multiple brands, there's always been a little clutter in this entire brand bouquet of theirs. So what is, you know, your vision, or maybe now I should say aspiration, for each, you know, of IHCL's brand in the short, medium and long term? I mean, if you can just, you know, give me a quick synopsis of that, because obviously it's a topic for a complete different discussion in terms of the brand, you know, all the brands you have. But in terms of the multiple brands you guys have, sometimes there's a lot of confusion because of the clutter. So what is your vision for these brands?
Okay, so Mahesh, again, to go back to what we had done when we re-looked at the brandscape, we made it very clean. And that's why you must have also seen that mail. In the first week of June, we were recognized as Taj being the nation's strongest brand. It's only because now there's clarity. If there was no clarity, the clutter would have continued like it has been for the last so many years. And the areas that were considered for being the strongest brand was familiarity with the brand, the corporate reputation of the brand, the customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, and the marketing investment. So I do believe it's actually quite clear cut and clean based on what we have done. These things don't happen just naturally. Affection for the brand happens naturally, but the way you position your brands is very, very, it's a very well thought through exercise. And that's what we did with Vivanta.
It's basically the art and the science both put together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also the other thing is, if you see even the Taj Mahal Palace, for example, by Trust You, for the third time in a row, we've been ranked as the #1 brand. So I mean, it's not about bragging, but it's obviously a journey that has worked for us on strengthening our brandscape, by clearly distinctive, 4 brands. And if you see, like, Vivanta does not have any Taj or anything attached to it, because we want the brands to thrive on their own standing. It may be a little new in the market, but we're working towards that, and that will continue. And we'll also focus on a lot of other new businesses and therefore new brands. I want to be very candid here, but Mr. Puneet Chatwal, our MD and CEO, this was part of his strategy. But what was different in this time was that the entire leadership was involved in all the decisions that we have taken. But you need that catalyst and that leader to push you forward and push your boundaries.
No question. In fact, I think the collaborative effort is much more doing something inclusive is much more better than doing it compartmentalized, which may have been the erstwhile issues which happened. But I think Puneet has done a brilliant job in doing what he's done and leading the collective.
And we want to keep them true, and the differentiation is very clear. So we are very, and we mandate all the policies for each of the brands.
So tell me, just shed some light, Renu, on your brands such as your Ama Homestays or Taj.
Oh yeah, sorry, I've got to mention that. That is very exciting.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to, because a lot of people don't know about these, the homestays, the Taj selections. And do you think the Palace Hotels will do much better, or these brands which you've just introduced?
See, we have 9 palaces.
Right.
Because the better known ones are the 4 grand palaces. And we recently added the Fateh Prakash, Taj Fateh Prakash in Udaipur. So we have, because that's been our strength through the legacy of many, many years. Because when we expanded our footprint in the country, we went to the Maharajas at that time and reached out to them to, discuss whether we could manage their palaces, because it was a 2-pronged thing. It was, of course, increasing the footprint of our organization at that time from 1 hotel company to 200 hotels today. It was also showing responsibility towards these iconic palaces. So we believe the palaces are our biggest strength and our biggest unique offering that we have, because we are the only hotel company that has authentic and real palaces. So our palaces continue to do well, and they're always, aspirations of people to go to, and especially at this time, at the way what they're going through. So if I take an example of the recent reopening of the economy, the maximum number of bookings we got was for our Rajasthan hotels and our 3 palaces over there. 4 palaces now: Rambagh Palace, Jai Mahal Palace, the 2 palaces in Udaipur, and of course, Umaid Bhavan Palace in Jodhpur. And if we go further down to the south, Taj Falaknuma Palace, there's so much resonance for that palace that as soon as Hyderabad opened, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana opened, we had like 4-5 weddings there. So people, definitely the palaces is a very unique offering for us. So is our safaris, and we continue on that path. We've already actually signed a lodge in Tadoba, because we know that is something we always are focused on that, but today it's becoming even more important because people want to go out into open places, because the perception is that the air is much cleaner, So palaces continue to be our focus, and you'll see us adding more and more as we go deeper into our journey for our brands. And Selections was our unique named collection of hotels. It's a soft brand because these hotels are known for something unique, which like the Ambassador Hotel in Delhi, or
Right.
you take the Savoy in Ooty. By calling it Taj, we were probably not doing, service to that brand. And Vivanta, of course, and Ginger with Lean Lux, it's become a far more vibrant brand. And we're finding a lot of people embracing that. And finally, it has arrived, and it's showing in the numbers and in the reviews. So, these are the brands that we believe will really thrive in the future.
But what about the homes, the
Yeah,
Amma?
sorry, on Ama. Ama was actually a really unique offering. We being part of the Tata group, we in our initiative to synergizing much more with the Tata group, we reached out to Tata Coffee, and they have bungalows in near Coorg and Chikmagalur, and we went in with them right in the beginning, and they've had an excellent response because people want a nice, comfortable homestay with the endorsement of a very
Of the brand.
strong brand.
Yeah.
The endorsement really comes from the services, the cleanliness, the hygiene that you provide. So there's a lot of trust, even greater trust today than there was in the
I
past.
think the key
Then
word,
we expanded into Goa.
yeah, I think the key word in all this, because hygiene and care and all that, I think every hotel is shouting. It is the trust, which is, I think, the key word which drives
Absolutely.
the people towards your brand.
Absolutely, and that's what's going to keep us, relevant even in the future, because the stamp of trust that you carry, people, people want that, and that's what we found in Ama as well. So we had three more bungalows in Goa, and they're in great demand. So are the Ama homes in Chikmagalur and Coorg, and we're opening one near Mumbai as well at Marve. So what we're doing is, while we're reaching out to other owners, we've been working very strongly with the Tata Group, because the Tata Group has these beautiful old colonial homes all over the country. So we're working with them, and there, you can go with a family bonding. For example, Cumin, and some other F&B brands in the future, because F&B is we have about 360 restaurants within our group. We have 70 spas, so those are all there. But and the spas we are revisiting our Jivas. So we have 70 spas across the country, and we launched New and Now, the hair salon brand,
I
because
was,
that
I
is
was,
another.
I was there at the Taj Land's End when it was the first one was launched at the
That's right.
Taj Land's End. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that has got a little delayed because of the lockdown, because you see a lot of lot more coming up across the country.
Yeah. So now tell us about this word Cumin. Is quite fascinating. How do you get about this word called Cumin, and just tell us what Cumin is all about?
So Cumin is really a food delivery service launched by our company, along with a lot of support from two other Tata companies, which is Tata Digital and TSMG. We did feel that there was a need for people. There is a craving in people for wanting to get food from their favorite signature restaurants. So this was it was a very successful project, led personally by our MD and CEO, and the vision of our chairman, where people worked remotely, worked offline, but executed online. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
Like,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like search online, buy offline.
Yeah.
Here it was work offline, but launched online. So Cumin was really about, curated quality cuisine. That's the tag that goes with it. And it was not about, like I mentioned earlier, it's not about just launching any food or delivery of any food. It was a signature restaurants of our hotel where people have grown up on that. Like you and your family have grown up, or your children have grown up in in using our restaurants. So there is a memory. So we're bringing that memory back into people's homes through a very, very clinical way of serving it, following all the hygiene standards, using sustainable packaging, no plastics, all good paper. So so this is really the concept. We already launched it in 5 cities. We started in Mumbai, then we moved to Bangalore, then we moved to Delhi. We've launched it in Hyderabad and Chennai, and you'll find it being launched in Kolkata and many more cities. And of course, the app is also something that was launched. So it's really an app delivery, app-based model.
And when did you launch this, Renu?
In Mumbai, it was launched on the 8th of July, but the app was launched on the 24th.
And how has the response been so far?
Oh my God, it's been overwhelming. It's really been overwhelming.
Do you think that these F&B experiences will change going forward with this thing?
Yeah, so definitely it is not going to be the same. So if you see the way we approached this hygiene and safety was very, very different. Okay. Right. We've always followed very high standards in terms of hygiene and safety, from FSS's AI to, even when before the lockdown happened, we were doing this thermal screening at the hotels, and we ensured there was, sanitizers as people arrive. We continue with that, but we completely remodeled our processes to introduce the protocols introduced by expected and mandated by WHO and the Ministry of Health and Welfare. So yes, definitely there is going to be that change. People, at the lobbies, etc., people are dressed the way they are, but they're wearing a mask because it's mandatory. And we have to follow those processes and procedures, and people will expect us to do so. It was like security in after 9/11. Oh, sorry, after 26/11, when we had that September attack, November attack, 26th November, we all changed our ways and we accepted it. And prior to that was 9/11. We all changed the way we were traveling. So people adapt very quickly. It is going to change, but people will get used to it and they'll want it and they'll expect it. Today also, if you're going somewhere or somebody asks you to come somewhere, you want to know who's going to be there, who's not going to be there, what are they going to do, how many people are going to be there, because you yourself have now become very conscious. You can't be so careless and laissez-faire about getting anywhere. So similarly, people will expect our colleagues to be wearing a mask or wearing a glove, or they're going to be very, suspicious about us. We don't want that. So that's why when we launched our hygiene and safety protocols, we called it Tajness, a commitment re-strengthened, because we do not want to lose the core of what we stand for. We want that warmth. We want that that genuine care that we are known for, coupled with this. And yes, talking about restaurants and banqueting and food and beverage, we definitely will follow the protocols laid down by the government about 2 meters distance. So restaurant seating will be different from what it used to be. There'll be distance between tables, and the servers will be wearing masks while serving. So that will continue, and people will want that, and we will do that till there is a solution to the vaccination or whatever. Because people are wanting to go to the restaurants, but inside the restaurant, we're going to be serving the same way.
Obviously, have done a lot of guest surveys, Renu, in terms of hotel experiences, and what has been the one significant thing which has been universally come out of these surveys?
See, the universal thing is that people are very concerned about health, safety, and hygiene.
Right.
Everything that points towards that will win. So last week we launched a facility called iZest, which is about technology as an enabler to provide service to guests. So basically contactless service. People don't want any contact whatsoever in their transactions or their usage of whatever they're using, whether you're buying bread or whether you're staying in the hotel or you're using the facilities of the restaurant. So this digital being a huge enabler is going to be one of the biggest transformational aspects in today's world, and not only for our industry, for every industry.
I think what is more relevant is that how people, technology. Everybody talks about digitalization. Everybody talks about the Moore's law of technology, and digitalization being 10x in terms of exponential growth. But I think what is more important is how you use that technology and how you integrate it with how your realities, ground realities, as well as how you can blend the two to make sure that you're future ready as well as relevant.
Absolutely.
No?
Like if you see what would have taken 5 years happened in 6 weeks
Yeah.
when we were hit by this
COVID.
pandemic. And so for us, technology is like zero contact. So your invoices are on digitally transmitted to you over your phones or your other devices. So there's absolutely zero contact.
I know that there's so much of investment you guys have done in terms of safety protocols, and you are literally being fairly draconian about enforcing those protocols all across your hotels. Obviously, because for the safety of your own team as well as for the guests who are concerned. But
Right.
Indians are creatures of habit.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Indians are completely, they don't, in their own country, they don't follow the norms. You go,
Right.
what they behave in their own country and what they behave outside the country is like 180 degrees metamorphosis. So ground realities, from an operational point of view, whether it is small events, gatherings, guests, interaction in the lobbies, etc. There's so much of challenge, so many challenges your operational staff must be facing in trying to control this psyche of Indians to not adhere to norm or safety. How are you guys managing, or have you seen that kind of thing happening?
Yeah, so we are very, I'm just reiterating this point. We are very clear about following the government guidelines, where you can't have crowded lobbies, where you have to follow if you have a function of 50 people and not one person more. We are definitely following that, and especially with the weddings we recently hosted in Jaipur, Udaipur, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and in Mumbai as well. We are following that. So that becomes the first filter. So people know they can't have more than 50 people, right, for a function. Two, in the lobbies also, we are very clearly maintaining that 2 meter distance. If you see some of our...
So Renu, I am very clear that you guys are draconian in your enforcing these things. How are you managing the Indian psyche? Are you facing challenges on ground?
Not yet. We haven't faced that as yet. But to answer you very candidly, yes, Indians, they feel, oh, sab theek hai. But everywhere in the world, Mahesh, it's happening. And that's why, because people are not being able to practice this physical distancing. It's a very, very alien thing to do. So it is going to be a challenge, but people are following that. See, I mean, I don't know. I don't find people meeting now. People are getting a bit fed up and going out, to friends' homes, etc. 2 to 4 people are meeting. But it's really up to us as good citizens and for our own health and other people's health and care. We follow those protocols. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble.
No,
We'll
no,
be
for
in
sure.
trouble from a larger perspective. I'm not talking about the hotels.
Etc. So there are challenges on ground between a Renu profile and a Bossy profile. I mean, not that
Right.
I do.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah,
So
but we have also in our reservation forms, or when you go onto our website, we've put down those factors that you have to wear a mask, you have to maintain distance if you're coming into the hotel. I know what you're talking about. The reality is different,
different,
but
yeah.
we control it as much as possible.
Yeah, I
But
think you need to,
it's off to
you need to control it without being Hitlerian.
enforce it.
You without being Hitlerian, you need to control it from a
Yeah.
hospitality point of view and try to balance, a guy who's rowdy as well as a person who's not so rowdy.
It's like, you don't allow people to smoke in the hotel anymore.
Yeah,
So it's that sort of a thing.
correct,
It's
correct.
but you have to enforce this,
No,
and
no,
we have to practice it. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And there's a fine line in terms of offending people at the same time policing
Right.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me now, your New York hotel has just opened, right? Was
No,
that
not yet.
not yet?
No.
Okay,
London has opened. Yeah.
London has opened.
London is open. The two Dubai hotels are operational.
Western parts of the world having opened much earlier than what we were from a lockdown point of view, and life is sort of getting to normalcy. How are your global, properties faring in terms of opening and managing?
Well, there's a lot of support that the UK government, for example, has given the hotel industry. So obviously the hotels were shut. We just opened it 2 weeks ago. But there is a little more normalcy in the Western world than there is here, because here we are still in lockdown, so to say.
Darling, we've got a 1.3 billion. That's our biggest problem.
Yeah, exactly. So they are open. So as the economies, their borders start opening up, it's difficult to say anything at this point in time. But the support we got in UK, but
Yeah.
Dubai has a lot more demand than London right now.
And Dubai is almost back to normalcy because
Absolutely.
they have done almost 70% testing, and
Yeah.
their population. See, they are
Absolutely.
blessed with a good population, and secondly, it's a monarchy. Everything
Yeah.
comes from top down, so it's
Yeah, absolutely. No, and they are leading fairly normal lives, actually everywhere in the world, except certain South American countries.
And I just read today in the papers that they've now announced that even people with visit visas can actually now travel to Dubai, which was not
Yeah,
the case.
exactly.
Earlier it was resident visas and repatriation.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
now, even if you want to go and visit Dubai for a holiday, you have a visit visa, the airline will take you.
yeah. I think we should go.
I think we should. I think we should go for sure. So tell me, you think this is again a loaded question, and this is, I know you're not Miss Nostradamus, but weddings and mice. We've spoken about this on various seminars and webinars. Uh, there is yet so much of uncertainty, and we keep on getting calls from clients, and I'm sure your hotels across the places which are wedding friendly are constantly getting calls about when are we going to have big weddings? Big as in not the 500, 700. And there are some people who are living in La La Land who yet think that they're going to have 700, 800.
Oh, yeah, they're
But
saying we postpone the wedding to next year because we want to have a big fat wedding. Yeah.
no, I'm saying that La La Land is, they think that December and January also are going to be big fat Indian weddings. In my opinion, obviously, and I'm sure in your informed analysis also, it is 200 people or 250 people. But as far as, let's say, wedding segment goes, 50 is the mandate as of now. And
That's right.
every state is going to have different kind of rules of how many, what is the relaxation. But do you think that there is going to be some kind of relaxation happening post October?
I mean, like you said, I cannot predict, cannot say that. But if every state is allowed to take their own decision, I would imagine North India would get
The more relaxed.
more relaxed, or like maybe in Rajasthan they'll allow more people because the in Jaipur, Udaipur, and Jodhpur, they're open spaces. So
Absolutely.
it may be different. I have no insight into that at all.
We just keep
But
our fingers
right
crossed.
now it's 50. It's
Yeah, yeah,
50.
I
We
know.
follow that. And we've done, like I said, in Jaipur, because till the end of June, there were some auspicious dates. People quickly had a non-residential wedding, and they had 50 people.
The other thing which is now troubling all of us in the industry is the sort of slightly comatose mice. So mice and corporate travel and traffic is come to fairly a grinding halt. What are your senses in terms of mice recovery? The
So MICE recovery again, it's, a lot of organizations have got very comfortable with this working from home, and not comfort out of complacency, but comfort out of it's working well. It's working well. It's working with trust. It's working efficiently. So a lot of the large corporates are saying, it's working well, then let's carry on till the end of the year like this. But there are in certain parts of the jobs, and that's where Ginger is, really succeeding. Like where, people need to be in touch with their customers across the country. The sales and marketing people who need to travel, or there's a project, or there is some production facilities, like in Sanand in Gujarat, there's a lot of manufacturing happening there. So there is a lot of demand. People who need to get back to their jobs. Of course, it's not back to the levels we are used to, but there is a little amount of Indian domestic corporate travel happening from the government sector, you know, from the FMCG sector, from the pharmaceutical sector, and wherever there's production involved, that kind of travel is happening. So that if you put it under corporate, it's corporate. But that corporate FIT travel is looking a
yeah.
bit dicey. What is happening is there's revenge travel which will emerge first, which is all that pent up demand where people need to get out. They've had enough. They want to drive to the closest destination. So from Bombay, Nasik is very, very, we've seen a lot of demand there. Or if you go from in the north, there's a lot of demand for Rishikesh or Jaipur or Udaipur. Or in the south, there's from Tamil Nadu or Coimbatore to Uti, Kunur. From Bangalore, it's Kurg. So that kind of travel is happening, and of course, staycations. That's a big one where we've already seen it in Bombay, because Bombay opened on the 8th of July, if you recall.
Yeah. So I think you're right in terms of what you've said, that the kind of you know the way you are basically talking about the mice sector is fairly accurate, because the thing is, even though we don't know what the future is going to hold, we have a fairly rational outlook towards the consumer behavior from the corporates, and that is going to take some time to come in, to try and come back to our pre-COVID days in any case.
Oh yeah. I think that will take some time, but I think there's definitely a potential for smaller meetings.
Yeah.
20 to 25, where you need. But since technology has replaced the need we used to have earlier to get the job done, that's happening.
How has it been for Renu Basu as a hotelier and as an individual the last 6 months? Because I know you are extremely cautious, you err on the side of caution, and you will not take undue risks. So what has it been from a hotelier point of view as well as a person?
I'll talk as a hotelier. I take risks at work, but not in my personal life. So that's why I'm not ready to go out. Yeah, because one shouldn't just create problems when there are none. So professionally, it's been a very, very important time in my life. I felt that I'm basically a very optimistic and positive person. So that really worked fantastically for me, because that gave me the mental energy to do what we have done. And, actually, when we look back, the last 5 months, we've done a hell of a lot, much more than we were doing when we were sitting together. You just miss that human touch, but it's fine, because you have a mission to accomplish. So that mental energy gave me a lot of strength to be at it, to find solutions, to deliver results in whatever way that was expected. They're not the kind of results that we're used to. But given this, I never felt cowed down or never felt limited in any manner, because I think the limitation comes in your mind. The other thing is that, I felt from a professional perspective, because they both sometimes become seamless. Your personal mental energies, your positivity, your optimism gives you a lot of strength to do a lot of things. The other thing was engaged to build the value of trust, to build on it. So engaging with all stakeholders, and in my case, it was really people like you, people like my colleagues who, I had to, who look at you to get things done, reaching out to our customers, whether it's, digitally or just being engaged with all our stakeholders. And the other thing was embracing this change. I think embracing change and adapting to it quickly, and looking at innovation to do different things. And their digital, embracing that change came through embracing digital even more. Like I mentioned to you earlier, what would have taken us 5 years, we did in 6 weeks. So using all this technology as enabling us to do things, so we could be in the mind frame of people, and people don't forget us and we don't forget people. So like for our customers, we constantly kept saying, we are here for you. That kind of communication at every level, we've kept in touch. And we if you look at our social media strategy, we've tried to be relevant with our customers. On a personal front, I do believe, because of my positive attitude, I can embrace anything and do anything. I have tremendous amount of physical energy also to keep that going. Yes, from a personal perspective, I'm very cautious about the situation, because you don't want to unnecessarily expose yourself to the infection that is going around, to keep your sanity and your family's sanity. So that is where I'm cautious. So I've not really stepped out. I go to office once a week, and I go. What it has also taught me is the value of relationships. Because of my job, and that was personally me, not anybody pushing me to do it. I never was at home. I was always out, at wheels on my feet. I was just traveling like crazy. It's given me an opportunity to pause and take stock of everything around me, my family, my husband, my children, my friends. Three, I've made sure that I've worked on my health, and I've lost 6 kilos. So that is a big achievement for me. And because it gives you time, you're not traveling to work, you're not going out as much. And it's given me a lot of time at home that I never had. So
No,
it's been.
I think you've covered it very succinctly, and I think from a very morbid point of view, COVID has, from a professional as well as a personal point of view, been a bane rather than a boon. I'm talking about from a very morbid sense of view. It should never happen to the
Yeah,
worst people. It should never ever come back. But these 6 months have been a metamorphosis of sorts, a reset of sorts for so many people in so many different ways.
absolutely.
So from both the professional and personal, as you said. And I think
Yeah,
with
and the other thing is you reinforce the team spirit even greater at a time like this. You are together in everything you do.
yeah,
There are no egos, there's no nothing. You just say, we need to get the job done. How do we do it? I don't care, but we need to get things done.
brilliant, Renu. So you know what? I'm not going to let you go so soon because I'm
Oh,
going
I
to do.
thought I'd escape.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. So I'm going to do what is called Bossy's rapid fire for Travelgram. So,
Okay.
so I'm going to just give you a few questions, and you got to really be quick on the uptake and give me clear, quick answers. Okay. And
Okay, that means I've been giving long answers to you
no,
all
no, no, no,
along.
no, no. Those deserve long answers. I'm talking about these ones are like literally rapid. Rapid is the
Okay.
key. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first one I'm shooting off. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Lake Palace, Udaipur or Umaid Bhawan, Jodhpur?
Umaid Bhawan Palace, Jodhpur.
Choice of clothing, suits or saris?
Saris, of course.
I knew that. Okay. So Indian weaves or French chiffon?
Indian weaves for sure.
Again, I knew that. So wasabi in Mumbai or Quilon in London?
Quilon in London.
Nice. Dosas in Bangalore or crepes in Paris?
Dosas in Bangalore.
Okay, all right. So, okay, Jamdani from UP or Venkatgiri from Andhra Pradesh?
Jamdani from Banaras.
So,
I'll be that specific.
yeah, I know, I can see that. Okay, movies or books?
Movies.
Cricket or tennis?
Tennis.
Hills or beaches?
Hills.
Pet dog
Actually,
or
it
pet?
used to be beaches, but hills or beach. It used to be beaches, but now it's hills. You
So now,
change.
current it's hills. Okay,
Sorry?
currently it's hills, you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, pet dog or pet cat?
Neither.
Favorite cuisine?
Italian.
Favorite city?
Favorite city in domestic or international?
Could be either. It's a wide choice, I know, but just
Okay.
spin
Okay.
your brain global map and just point to one.
Okay. I love Leh
In Ladakh,
in
is it?
Ladakh.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
I was so
amazing.
happy I went there 4 years ago. Yeah.
Your favorite TV show?
Or Crown. I'm watching Crown right now. Yeah.
Maybe you're so British.
It's so British. What to do?
Okay, most inspirational celebrity?
Most inspirational celebrity. This is a difficult one.
Indian or international, whichever. You've been inspired by. Any celebrity you've been inspired by?
Michelle Obama.
Pop and rock or vintage Bollywood?
Vintage Bollywood.
Well, I think Renu, you have, I don't have a hamper to give you, but all I can promise you is a great meal at home cooked by Anita for Rontu, and you,
Absolutely.
Rontu deserves it only because you answer those rapid fires brilliantly.
Okay, thank you.
But guys, ladies and gentlemen, I think you know what? It's been just a fantastic pleasure having a chat with the one and only gorgeous Renu, the queen of networking, and my very good friend, who looks absolutely pristine and gorgeous even as the years go by. So, Renu, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being on the show, and have a great Tuesday.
Thank you so much, Mahesh, for having me over. And I'm wearing a sari today, especially for you.
I can see that. I can see that. But we're going to have you home soon as the dust settles.
Thank you. And we'll have you home and I'll cook. What I forgot to tell you is that I started cooking, which I hadn't cooked for 20 years.
That's the new talent which has come up.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mahesh. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.